Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, December the 5th. We have an Arctic front that is barreling through the northeastern part of the nation. It is producing some snow showers and isolated snow squalls. Arctic air will follow the passage of this cold front, chilling the northeastern states through the day today, tonight, into the day on Friday as well. And those winds will gust out of the west or northwest up to at least 50 miles per hour or so, right upon the immediate passage of that cold frontal system. Wanted to kind of track where that front is right now, doing it the old-fashioned way by looking at the latest surface observation. These are from the 7 o'clock hour. We're now close to the 8 a.m. time frame here, but this is Du Bois up in upstate Pennsylvania to the north and west of State College. The 7 a.m. reading had westerly winds gusting all the way up to 47 miles per hour. Some snow falling up there at that particular hour. The front is through. When the wind is shifting to the west and gusting all the way up to 47 miles per hour, that's pretty good observation that the front has passed through Du Bois. Now, go a little bit farther to the east here in State College as of 7 a.m. Winds gusting out of the west up to 28 miles per hour. Appears to me that the front is through State College as well. Light snow falling there. Temperatures dropping from the prior couple of hours. Now, a little bit farther to the east, calm winds at 7 o'clock at Harrisburg. So the front is just on the doorstep of Harrisburg, on its way to Lancaster, and it'll barrel to the east coast by later this morning. So again, that's kind of a good way to tell if the front has passed your particular location. Those winds will all of a sudden kick up quite strongly out of the west or northwest, and certainly can gust up to 45, 50, 55 miles per hour later today and tonight as that Arctic air floods the mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. Now, one other map we can look at here. This is kind of a mesoscale analysis as put together by NOAA. This is telling me there's really a couple different frontal systems, surface frontal systems. There's one right here as of the current time frame. And again, that's what we can see with those observations past State College, which is right here in central PA and on the doorstep of Harrisburg and Lancaster. But notice up here, it's kind of a secondary frontal system, and that the two will be sliding to the south and east. So you may kind of see two different frontal passages if you're in the mid-Atlantic region. One right now, again, closing in on the east central part of Pennsylvania. A second push here, dropping to the south and east, and the winds will really intensify. Notice the isobar pattern associated with this secondary frontal system quite tight here. That tells me those west to northwest winds could be even stronger with the passage of that secondary front later this morning during the midday hours in the I-95 corridor region. Now here's a look at the latest radar loop from WSI's and telecast.com. These snow showers right here, right at this time, probably associated with that first, the main surface cold front. Again, we're closing in on the 8 a.m. hour here in the east. And back in here, there's probably that leading edge of that secondary frontal system right here with some very good snows falling across northwestern Pennsylvania, northeastern Ohio right now. So a lot of snow showers, a few isolated heavier snow bands right here associated with that initial frontal system that again is progressing right now into the east central part of Pennsylvania, the southeastern part of Pennsylvania, and cutting across the D.C. metro region as well. There could even be some snow showers all the way down to the northern and western suburbs of D.C. over the next couple of hours or so. And again, you'll know when the front passes with that uptick in winds from nearly calm conditions ahead of it to 40, 50, 55 mile per hour west to northwest gusts immediately on the heels of that frontal system. Well, let's go through last night's 0Z run of the GFS. This is the conventional version of the GFS. We're looking here at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies, and here is that next Arctic blast pushing in on the heels of these couple different surface frontal systems right now, edging into the eastern part of the mid-Atlantic region. This is, again, the forecast map for 7 a.m. this morning. Another Arctic blast. Notice a lot of warmer than normal conditions out across the western U.S. And that warmer than normal weather will spread east over the upcoming weekend and certainly reach the mid-Atlantic northeast U.S. by the early part of next week. In fact, we'll see that here. Arctic cold for the next 48 hours here in the eastern states. That extends all the way from the Carolinas up to New England and back to the Great Lakes. This is midday on Friday. Saturday also will be quite cold weather hanging on along the eastern seaboard. But then by the time we get to Sunday, a lot of that warmer than normal conditions, warmer than normal weather out in the west, spreads all the way to the Midwest, the Great Lakes, by the latter part of the upcoming weekend and then into the early part of next week. Certainly a big change in temperatures on Monday, for example, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, compared to the next couple of days here on Thursday and Friday. Now, this will also come with some rainfall in the eastern part of the nation early next week. And then notice it gets kind of interesting again, and we'll talk about that in a moment here. By the middle part of next week, this is now next Wednesday, we have some cold air, another cold shot charging to the south and east from the south central part of Canada into the Great Lakes region by the time we get to late Wednesday, and then finally into the day on Thursday. We have a kind of colder than normal air mass extending all the way down to the Gulf states, pressing into the eastern U.S. Could set us up for kind of an interesting scenario next, let's say, Wednesday night, Thursday time frame in the eastern U.S. Well, before we take a look at the surface maps, we want to take a look at the 850 millibar winds. Again, this is early this morning, 7 a.m., the forecast map from last night's 0Z run of the GFS. And I just want to point out that midday, still even an increase in those northwest winds here at the 850 millibar level. And I think a lot of that strong wind flow, a couple thousand feet off the surface, will translate down to the surface level. So the point is, we actually have an intensification of that low-level jet stream between early this morning and the midday hours. And again, I think this is with that second cold frontal system where we saw those tight isobars on the earlier map, that mesoscale analysis map, a very, very windy midday in the mid-Atlantic region, again gusting up to 50 miles per hour or so, and it certainly can cause some scattered power outages, unfortunately. So be on the lookout for that. Be prepared for the possibility of some scattered power outages throughout the mid-Atlantic region here. And then we get into the early evening hours. Still some impressive wind speeds here at the 850 millibar level going into the early evening hours. That tells me we could have wind gusts up to 45, 50 miles an hour all the way into maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. in the mid-Atlantic region in the northeastern U.S. Then we go into the overnight hours and things tend to relax a little bit, but a tight pressure gradient will result in some strong winds through the day on Friday as well throughout the northeastern part of the nation. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps. A strong low pressure area that is intensifying. Early this morning, it's located over the southeastern part of Canada. A widespread area of snow and snow showers, isolated snow squalls, some rain still hanging on along the coastal sections. We go out to the midday hours, and at this particular time, notice again tight pressure gradient here. These are going to be very strong wind gusts at midday. This is right at the midday time frame here. Very strong west to northwest winds. Again, probably picking up after that passage of that second frontal system we saw at the surface level. Very tight pressure gradient pattern, and the pressure difference between this intensifying low and this incoming high, very strong indeed. Watch out for scattered power outages anytime later today and tonight in the northeast, in the mid-Atlantic region. We'll go into the evening hours and then finally into the overnight hours. And notice all the way into the morning hours, still a strong pressure gradient, a lot of isobars here between this high and that departing low. In other words, it stays windy, very cold on Friday throughout the mid-Atlantic, throughout the northeastern part of the nation. Things then begin to relax on Saturday, and especially by the time we get to Sunday morning. That Canadian high moves from the middle of the country to off the eastern seaboard, and that promotes a southwesterly flow of air, pumping in milder air midday on Sunday from the south central states all the way into the Mississippi Valley and even all the way up into the Ohio Valley during the day on Sunday. Go out a little bit farther in time, and that real mild air relative to what we'll experience over the next 48 hours reaches the mid-Atlantic region, and there can be some rainfall associated with it Monday, even into Tuesday in the eastern states right here. Now, later next week, it could get kind of interesting. We'll have a frontal system right in this region right here. This is the midweek forecast map. A strong cold front sliding slowly to the south and east, moving in this direction here. This is next Wednesday morning. There are signs that this front will tend to stall near the eastern seaboard. At the same time, some colder air starts to move in. We'll have to see if a second kind of low pressure area forms along that stalling cold frontal system, and it could move up into the northeastern states, and could be some cold enough air for at least interior sections of the mid-Atlantic northeast U.S. to get some snow. This particular model run did not really follow that solution here, but I think things could change here by this particular time Wednesday night. The GFS from last night has the front right in this area right here, but this is kind of the system that we'll have to watch out for. Again, this particular model run did not ride this up along the eastern seaboard, but it's something we'll have to monitor going into next week. And here we go. That second low, and again, not a cold blast by any means, but there could be enough cold air filtering into the mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. for possibility some interior snows at least. Again, later Wednesday into Thursday of next week, many days between now and then to kind of fine tune. But again, we'll watch out for this kind of slowing down cold frontal system. This now takes us all the way out to next Thursday, a week from right now. Wouldn't take much of a shift to the north and west for this to become quite an interesting setup here for the latter part of next week. But for the immediate future, Arctic front barrels through the northeastern states. Arctic air follows for the rest of today, tonight, and Friday. Winds will pick up tremendously on the heels of the frontal passage, and certainly midday hours in the mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. could see wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour or so. Watch out, unfortunately, for possibility of some scattered power outages throughout the day today and tonight. The winds stay pretty strong on Friday as well. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.